One of my mentors told me that you could tell how successful someone was going to be just based on looking at their calendar, and it's kind of lived rent free in my brain ever since. So, I'm going to step you through how I built my Google Calendar. I've been getting a lot of questions about it recently. So, this is how I keep a content system, or how I create a content system and stick to it every single day. Obviously, this schedule might not be exactly how yours will look, but it helps to see how someone else does theirs so that you can see what to add and subtract. I want this video to be pretty raw, so it's just going to be me kind of thinking through my schedule and having you build along with me. So let's jump right into the Google Calendar, and here we go. So over here at the top, you're going to click Create. You're going to click Event. The first event that I like to schedule into my calendar when I try to build a schedule is a sleep slash recovery. So when you wake up and you go to bed, that's really, really important to, I'll just keep it as sleep right now, but it's really important to know when those times are. Not every single day is going to be the same. Obviously, you have your ideal day, and then you have the day that happens to you. Sometimes they differ. So sometimes I like to do. I'm going to go to 5 a.m. Usually, I'll go to bed between 10 and 11 p.m. just based on the day. Gives me about 6 or 7 hours of sleep, and I'll choose that as a, let's see, blueberry color, and then you'll click Save, and that will populate there. And then I'll go back into here with the edit, and that'll be daily. So I'll go through that daily, and that'll be where we start. And then you can go through and see that when you scroll up and down, it'll be 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. every single day. Shortly afterwards, I like to go into like my 5 a.m. routine. So through the 5 a.m. Club book, they kind of talk about the 20-20-20 rule, and I've kind of taken bits and pieces from that to where you want to get active, you want to do some reading, you want to do some learning, all in that same hour that you wake up. So for me, I kind of go into like, I'll call this my morning ritual. Morning ritual. I'm gonna go into more options for that. We'll keep it yellow. I like that. And then that's gonna be from 5 a.m. to 6. I usually do like a 2 mile walk, so that usually takes around 30 minutes or so. Sometimes I'll run it, so it'll shorten the time depending on the day. But we'll also repeat that daily as well, and that'll be right below the blueberry color here. Afterwards, I like to schedule in my coffee because I like to earn my coffee, and that usually means I have to do it after my morning ritual. Can't jump right into a coffee. You need at least like, I think it's 90 minutes after you wake up to keep your circadian rhythm in check. So I'll label that as coffee. And sometimes it'll be a shake too. So I could go like coffee or like a protein shake to get you going before the gym. Let's go into more options. We'll keep that as like from 6. It's not going to take much time, so I'm not going to do even 15 minutes. I'll keep it there, and it'll provide a little blip on there. So coffee and shake, we'll change the color to, let's do flamingo. Cool. So now we're starting to build, I usually like to be at the gym at 7 a.m. 7 to 8 a.m. works for me perfectly, and I like to give it a little bit more time so that I have a little bit extra before and after. But we'll start that at 6:45 to 8:15, so it gives you kind of a buffer afterwards. Oh, let me just change that here. So gym, and depending on the day, you could repeat this weekly. I'm kind of playing around with my schedule with the gym, and I've noticed that like anywhere between 4 and, I don't really like to go 6 or 7 days, but I think 4 to 5 days per week works best for me. Maybe even 3 to 4. I like to get like a nice, um, upper lower kind of split. But for gym right now in this case, just so we can build the schedule out a bit better, I'll do like gym, like upper body, just to keep it simple today. Let's go back into that upper body, and I'll make that tangerine, and that'll be from 6:45 to 8:15. Remember, if I get there at 7:15, that's fine. But like knowing that between 6:45 and 8:15, I want to be in the gym. Maybe it's 30 minutes, maybe it's 45, maybe it's that entire hour. But giving myself a little bit of that buffer time to get there because it is about 10 minutes away. And that'll repeat. Let's see. So if I'm doing an upper lower split, like upper body lower body, we could do every other day, and then that could be like, so for Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Friday, or wait, yeah, because then I'll skip the weekends, and maybe go, well, I'll skip Sundays and go Saturday. Let's do that just for the sake of this video. And that skipped there, so I'll have to repopulate another gym session here. So 6:45 to 8:15, gym, and that's lower body. Nice. And then I'm going to repeat that a custom. It was Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Nice. Cool. So that kind of gives you that little, like, the goal to this whole calendar is just keeping the least amount of white space possible. But yeah, now if you see it in a full week spread, it's starting to look pretty good. I didn't repeat the coffee one. Let's go back and do that. It's important to remember. So that's going to be repeating, no, not all day, daily from 6 a.m. Cool. That's looking good, looking good. Let's change the color of this to orange so that it has, or maybe I can do, maybe I'll do grape. Yeah, let's do grape. All events, nice. Cool, so it's kind of a little Halloween change up there. That's funny. Okay, cool. So after around 8:15, giving myself another 15 minutes or so to get out of the gym, get home, maybe have my a little bit of a meal. That'd be nice to snack on something, and we'll schedule that. Let's go into it from 8:15 to 8:45. This is first meal. That could be eggs, that could be a protein shake again if you didn't have one before. And that's going to be daily as well. Maybe I'll keep all of my like ingestibles in that flamingo color so that it can look, so that it all has the same cohesive like timing. Okay. What I've noticed is that I wanted my deep work sessions, after doing the schedule for a while, I realized I kept my deep work sessions between 8 and 11. And sure, it's a deep work session, but you don't have to be necessarily behind the computer or at the desk. So what I've noticed for myself at least is that since I want to implement painting into my schedule, from 8:45 to 10:45, like 2 hours, is a nice like studio painting, like studio time, or it's, studio session, which is technically deep work one. Whether it's painting, whether it's shooting content, it could be a bunch of different things, but I'm keeping my deep work as this basil color, and that's going to be every single day because I want to be in the studio daily. I want to be in there shooting B-roll, painting, filming content. That's a daily like non-negotiable for me. Okay, this is where it gets a little tricky because I do run a mentorship program, and with the program I do take calls almost daily. Starting Monday, I like to keep my calls pretty aligned, so I'm always taking calls anywhere between 11 and 3 p.m. So trying to shorten the time to when I'm taking too many calls. Usually I'll go later on Mondays and Tuesdays, but as far as Mondays go, this is going to be weekly on Monday. Nice. And then we'll keep that as blue peacock because it's like kind of standard. I'm thinking that blue color is just like your, this the day to day. Calls and meetings. These are my work block. Boom. And then Tuesday looks pretty similar. So what I'm going to do is duplicate that. And then that'll be on Tuesdays. Weekly on Tuesdays, calls, meetings. Boom. And we just populated that. The thing that is carried on weekly is my 11 a.m. group calls. So group call is on, I'll put the link in there eventually to jump right into, but what I'll do here is I duplicate this again. And I take calls on Wednesdays as well. Weekly on Wednesdays, nice. And then I can have that little group call, which is technically like a ritual every single week on Wednesdays at 11. I'll do a group call then, and I won't be able to schedule in one-on-ones. So Thursdays I like to keep no calls. Saturdays I like to keep no calls, but Fridays I do like to maintain a schedule with one-on-one calls, and we'll put that on Friday, weekly on Friday. Boom, awesome. And then afterwards, immediately after my calls at 3 p.m., I like to do a deep work session. So this is deep work 2. This is more of like an admin, more admin style, or editing. Like it could be like editing, admin, whatever that is for you. And I like to do that for about 2 hours to keep it pretty precise. And that usually will carry on Mondays and Tuesdays. I'll just save that, and I'll populate that for weekly on Monday. Cool. Then I'll duplicate it to Tuesday, weekly on Tuesdays. Now, could I take a call outside of some of these timings? Yes, I can, but I like to keep it within this threshold, so my Calendly populates just these times. I take calls 4 days a week, and I have my group call in between on one of those days. These empty slots will be when I plan out content, so individual videos. Say I want to make a video about how I organize my Google Calendar, and it's Friday night. Let's do that right now. So it's 8 p.m. Friday night. This is my Google Calendar video. And this is something I've already thought of in advance, so I know when it comes up from 8 to 9 p.m., 9:30 on Friday. This is filming, or like I can put like film. Cool. So that's what that would look like, and I can keep myself on track that way. Those can also be a pretty basic color, like the sage. So every time I have a video to do, I have these in the way. So say on Thursday, I need a get ready with me video. That's maybe I've already filmed it. I have an edit. Boom. So now I have a get ready with me edit. Let's change the color to that, and these will kind of be placed in when the time comes. So I'll know, okay, between 11 and 12, I need to film, or I need to edit my get ready with me video and have that ready to post that night. So technically, this is how I would keep building on top of my schedule, but to have a framework. Because now, after my deep work 2 session between 3 and 5 p.m., I have 5 p.m. to 10 to unwind, to cook dinner, to go on a date, whatever it is at night, to, you know, like get to bed at 10 p.m. early. It gives you a lot more time to like structure your day out, and it allows for you to keep your energy through the day. That's basically my Google Calendar work through. I could go a little bit more into depth on like what dinners look like and how nitty gritty it's gonna look at night, but that's for you to kind of decide. And for me, I'll finish that here. And yeah, so essentially that's the light framework of how to build a Google Calendar, and I hope this helps. It's not too like in the weeds. It's not too difficult. Just once you have that put together, it's not gonna maybe be every single day that you hit the same exact day, but it's important to remember that like the second I wake up and I miss that kind of day, it has all those notifications saying like, oh, you missed your 5 a.m. wake up, you missed this, you missed that, and then over time that'll start to be the normal, and you'll be like, oh, well, I don't want to wake up to those notifications. That's not necessarily what I like, and you'll end up fulfilling those actions every single day. But I hope you enjoyed. And if you have any questions, obviously leave them in the comments. I'll answer every single person specifically. Thanks for watching. Peace.